Trump news. It is Trump's intention to eliminate tip taxes in Nevada. At the same time that his campaign is trying to win over Latino employees, he makes this offer. On Sunday, when campaigning in a service-based state, Donald Trump promised to remove taxes on tips as a first item in his administration if re-elected. Those who work in hotels and receive gratuities will be ecstatic. During my time in office, we will abolish tip taxes, Trump declared during a Las Vegas rally. Navigate the 2024 election clutter. Receive the newsletter from the campaign moment. An act of Congress would be necessary to modify the taxation of tipped money. President Trump will ask Congress to eliminate taxes on tips. In response to a question about the specifics of the policy change. Much of the tax cut package that Trump signed into law in 2017 will expire in 2025, giving lawmakers another opportunity to reshape the nation's tax policy. Congress may try to incorporate tipped earnings in any revision or extension it undertakes next year, even though they weren't originally part of the legislation. When asked for comment on Trump's proposed tax adjustment, the Biden campaign did not immediately react. Biden has advocated for a higher minimum wage and the elimination of the tipped minimum wage. Gratuities are currently subject to income tax at the same rate as workers' normal wages. While some companies disclose tips to the IRS, the vast majority pay their employees in cash and do not record it. In 2018, the most current year for which full IRS data is available, almost 6 million workers had tips reported to them. Potentially swayed by Trump's idea are the Latino voters and service workers who are vital to Nevada's economy, particularly the state's booming hospitality sector. About 20% of Nevada's electorate is Latino, so he's been trying to reach out to them by saying his ideas will be better for their economy than Biden's. Papageorge, who is the secretary-treasurer of the Biden-affiliated Culinary Workers Union Local 226, made the observation that the union has worked for tipped workers' rights and against unfair taxation for many years. Although Papageorge acknowledged the need of providing relief to those who rely on tips for their livelihood, he emphasized that Nevadans are intelligent enough to distinguish between practical answers and outrageous campaign promises made by a convicted felon. For many of these employees, tips are vital. As long as each worker receives at least the ordinary federal minimum wage of $7.25 an hour, the federal government and numerous states permit employers to pay tipped workers significantly less than the normal minimum wage. Tips, whether in cash or another form, are taxable by the Internal Revenue Service, IRS, as wages for federal income, Medicare, and Social Security purposes. The typical worker who had tips recorded on their W-2 in 2018 had $6,249 in tips that were subject to taxation, the most recent year for which comprehensive IRS data is accessible. The service you provide is excellent. You tend to people's needs. During his remarks at the gathering, Trump expressed his belief that the outcome would be just and appropriate. No longer will we pursue anyone who work in restaurants for taxes, regardless of the nature of their employment, tip included.